Medfield TV, community shows.
Hello Medfield, welcome to the newest happenings in Medfield. My guest today is a young man named Andrew Seaman, and he's going to tell us about the work he does with facilities management and solar power, which is a really big thing in Medfield and a new thing in Medfield. So Andrew, welcome to Medfield.
Thank you very much.
Can you explain exactly what your job is for us?
So what I was hired under a grant from the state for an energy manager position, and what that position was supposed to do, and still does, is to reduce energy consumption in town. It's a big expense that each municipality has to incur, and the more you conserve, the more you save. So the state realized the benefits of that and made a grant available to hire a energy manager for 2 years, and so that's how I was hired on. And in addition, they also looked at that we have a lot of new buildings coming online, and they wanted someone to be able to run these buildings properly. And so they saw an opportunity to also fill that void. So that's that in a brief nutshell. That is what I do, is look at energy consumption, find ways to reduce consumption, and also just to see what we can do to run buildings properly.
Great. And what did you do before you came here?
I did a lot of things, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of a circuitous route getting here.
Well, the police won't arrest you if you say something.
No, that's fine. No, I actually grew up in the Midwest in Wisconsin, and my undergrad degree was in meteorology. So I was fascinated by weather as a kid. Yeah, and so then once I graduated college, I joined the NOAA Corps, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. They have a commissioned officer corps like the Navy or the Coast Guard, where they run hurricane aircraft and research ships throughout the world. And so I was assigned to one of those ships as my first assignment, doing some nautical charting.
And where were you based then?
On the East Coast. I was out of Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh, Virginia, okay.
And then after that, I went a couple different assignments. One was in Colorado. And then I actually went down to Antarctica for a few months.
Oh, holy mackerel, that would have been great.
That was very interesting. So then from there, I was then assigned to a ship in Newport, Rhode Island, doing fisheries research. And I realized that I was getting, I wanted to settle down, and I wanted to not have that lifestyle anymore. So I got out and went into the private sector for a bit, and then decided to go get my graduate degree in facilities management from Massachusetts Maritime Academy.
Okay.
And after that, I found out this job, this position was opening and offering the job. So that is how, in a brief nutshell, that is how I got here.
And someplace along this way, I don't know which state you were in, you met a wonderful woman.
I met a wonderful woman, Corinne. I've been married for a couple of years now and have a 3-month-old daughter. Met her when she was in school in Providence, and I was living in Newport. And now,
lucky.
Yeah, it's great.
And how's the baby?
Baby's great. She's growing and healthy and doing everything a baby does. Pooping and eating and everything like that. It's pretty great.
I can remember when my daughters-in-law or my daughter were pregnant, they wanted me to describe what it was like to have a baby, and I could not find the words. I tried.
You just can't.
I said miracle, amazing,
yep.
Whatever, and they all said I didn't describe it right.
Yeah.
You couldn't either?
No, you can't. I mean, and you think, oh, you listen to your parents, like, someday when you have a kid, you'll understand. It's like, yeah, sure, whatever. No, you just don't. You don't understand.
That's the way I felt too.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It really is.
So you met your wife by accident in
No,
Providence?
we met on eHarmony, actually.
Oh, did you really?
We did, through the wonders of the internet. And she was going to school up there and was able to get away and go out on a date with me, and the rest is history from there.
That's terrific.
So yeah, that's great.
Yeah, one of my kids met her husband on Match.com.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot more of that is happening. I mean, just because internet is such a big part of our lives, and that's just a way for people to meet. And I hear about more and more couples meeting like that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty happy.
But what fascinates you about solar energy?
Well, solar energy, it's amazing that you can just make something out of something that's free. You know, it's solar energy, something that's happening all the time, and you can run a building out of it. You can run mechanical processes. You can do so many things with energy, and now the technologies have really gotten the cost scale has gotten so low with solar that it's become more and more readily more feasible.
About how long does it take to recoup the cost?
It really all depends. In Massachusetts, because there's a lot of state incentives, that payback can be pretty quick. There's other states where the cost of electricity is much lower, and you're not going to see that cost recoup as quickly. Because here we do pay a pretty good premium for electricity, say compared to Pennsylvania, because the majority of our energy is generated from natural gas. It used to be nuclear and coal, but now a lot of those plants are coming offline. The Pilgrim plant and another coal plant down in Massachusetts is in Fall River is going to be coming offline. So we have to find other sources of energy.
Yeah.
And natural gas is the big generator. Depending on the time of day and various things, it's at least 50% of our power comes from natural gas.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah. The rest comes from nuclear, about 25%, and then also some coal or oil on a small percentage. But we have high electricity prices because the cost of getting that natural gas to us is really expensive. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about the push to expand the gas pipelines.
Yes, we all have.
Everybody knows about that, I think. And one of the pipeline projects was tabled. The Kinder Morgan pipeline was tabled about a month ago, I believe. Mm-hmm. There's still another one that is maybe going to go through. I don't know. Yeah. But the idea is to get more gas to this area so we can reliably have electricity and heat. So that's in a nutshell. And again, that's a brief synopsis of that's how we get our energy. And there's a big push by the state in order to diversify those sources of energy, and solar is one of those. And they have a lot of incentives in order to make that economically viable.
So we have solar at the new highway garage, right?
No, actually, we are going to be getting solar at the new highway garage. Yeah. So in town, there's 3 projects. The first one I think a lot of people know about, and that's the wastewater treatment plant. Mm-hmm. That's a 230 kilowatt system that'll provide 40% of the energy consumption at the wastewater treatment plant.
Wow.
And the treatment plant is the 4th biggest consumer in town.
Is it really?
It is, yeah. The high school, the middle school, and the well 6, actually.
Oh, because I know the high school was first. One of the drinking
water wells is the biggest single account user.
See, I was surprised to find the 2 schools were the highest.
Yeah,
I was very surprised.
Yeah, they are very. It's a big chunk of our energy bills go towards there. But at the treatment plant, we're looking to offset that cost significantly with these panels. And on April 26th is when we finally got authorization to turn the switch on those at that array. And now we're starting to generate electricity. And the first bill came in about a week ago, and we saw about a 25% reduction in energy consumption at the plant.
That's a good start.
Just from that first month.
That's a great start.
And we still had there was a couple little hiccups, like there was one piece of equipment that wasn't working, mm-hmm. and that we finally got working again. So even with that one piece of equipment, there was reduced capacity, and now we have it running full tilt. Mm-hmm. We're going to see even more.
So the new police and fire station, how are they going to work that?
The new police fire station, as part of the building contract, they're going to be issuing a change order in order to put solar up on the roof.
Great.
At the over there, and because of the reduced the financials made sense that there was enough savings throughout the project. The bids came in low, and there was enough money left over. Where they said this is something we want to do, and so it's going to be a 60 kilowatt system. so about a quarter of the size of what's at the treatment
Oh,
plant.
okay, that's all.
But
okay.
it's still going to provide a decent amount of energy. And so you probably won't be able to see those panels from the road or from the ground level, because they'll be over the garage bays for the fire
Okay.
apparatus.
Yeah, I know
and there's a bit of a parapet wall right there, so you're not going to be able to really see them.
Okay.
But they'll be up there, and they'll be generating electricity.
And what's the next one you should aim at?
The next one will be the garage. We're in the process in the planning stages of that. So the garage will be between 100 and 150 kilowatt system, and that'll actually provide close to 80% of the consumption of the energy usage at the garage. Because the garage it's a big building, but the majority of the energy used there is in the form of natural gas for heating. So the electricity use isn't as great as the heat. So that's our next project, and the goal is to get these all online by the end of this calendar year.
What got you interested in solar, though? Did you see something someplace, or?
No, I just during my graduate degree programs, there was a lot of focus on renewable energies in some of the classwork.
Okay.
One of the classes I took was an energy management class that I really liked, and there was, we talked about some of the different ways to heat and cool buildings, and I found it very fascinating. And when I applied for this job, and when I saw the advertisement for this job and talking about the projects that were in town that they wanted to put in solar, it's like I think this is really very interesting. And I really didn't know much about solar until I got here, so it was a bit of a trial.
You're learning.
But yeah, I drink from the fire hose right there. But so it was a bit of a learning curve, but we got the project done, and now we're on to the next two projects, and hopefully we'll get those done by the end of the year.
So are there any plans to expand it to any more buildings?
Right now, it's in the very early stages of looking into more of a feasibility assessment. To see what buildings might work. Some of the schools look like they're good candidates, but some of the roofs may not be in good shape. So there have to be some roof work that need to be done. The other one is actually on the old landfill, and that's more of a conceptual idea right now. A lot of communities have been doing solar on their landfills, their old capped landfills. But we're trying to work with the DEP to get permits in order to allow us to use it.
Because I remember when we capped that landfill.
Yeah.
That was quite a project.
It was quite a project, a very expensive project, and I don't know a lot about it, but about what happened, or how it was capped or anything like that. But if it works out that we could put solar up there, it would be a big revenue generator for the town.
Because in the old days down there was a hill. You walked up
yeah.
straight and just threw your stuff down the hill.
Oh my gosh.
And then, I'm serious,
Wow.
and periodically they would come and cover it up. And you go down next week and throw some more stuff down.
So
It was the way things were done.
A lot of stuff under there then.
Yeah, I can't imagine some of the stuff. I don't want to know some of the stuff.
No,
My kids always said there are probably dead bodies under there, and there might be.
Yeah, who knows?
There might be. One day they found a skull.
Oh my gosh.
It was kind of weird. One of the secretaries at town hall had donated money to a priest that was doing work across the world, and he sent her a pygmy skull as a way of thanking her to use for a pencil holder on her desk. And she tried for a couple of days, and she said she couldn't stand it because she couldn't stand looking at this little head. So she threw it in the trash. It went in the trash. Somebody saw that little head down the bottom of the landfill. And so they called the police. Nobody did anything wrong.
Oh my gosh.
They called the police, but we had a lot of laughs after it.
No.
But,
who knows? Jimmy Hoffa might be there. You never know.
It could be anybody. I mean, how do you know in the old days?
Yeah.
I had a dirt floor basement, and my kids always said somebody was buried down there. Things change.
Indeed.
Things do change. But solar energy to me is dynamite. I think it's marvelous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of potential for it, and now the cost of it has dropped significantly. So it's just becoming more economically viable. And now for smaller scale systems, say residences want to, individual residents want to put solar on their roof, that cost is, it's again becoming a lot cheaper. And we're actually initiating a program called Solarize Medfield. We've been approved to run this program through the state, through the Clean Energy Center. And the idea is to allow residents to install solar on their roofs for a significantly reduced cost. Because due to the economies of scale, the more people you get that sign up, the less it will be. So we're in the early stages of finding an installer. The idea is that the town will vet the installer. So instead of having, let's say you want to put solar on your roof, you have to, oh, I got to call this person, I call this person or that person.
Sure.
You don't know, and you don't know if you're really getting a quality product. Well, the Medfield Energy Committee that I'm also on. So there's a couple members on that committee, and myself are looking at all these different proposals from installers, and to figure out which one would be the best and the most economically viable, so people can say, all right, yes, I want to do this. This has already been vetted. We know that they're gonna hopefully give us a good product. Now the town is not entering into a contract with these installers themselves. We're just the sort of the vehicle in order to facilitate the solar installer coming in. It's the responsibility of individual residents to make the contract with that installer. It's their choice if they want to do it or not. But so that's sort of the way that it's going to work. And come July, I'd encourage people to start listening and looking for advertisements, some signs in town. If you want more information, you can go to www.solarizemedfield.org, or you can email solarizemedfield@gmail.com. Those are the two ways to get in contact with myself and the Energy Committee in order to get more information, be put on a mailing list, to be aware of events coming around that will allow you to come and talk to the selected installer, ask your questions, and figure out if it's the best thing for you to do at your house.
Is that the biggest saving you see for the future solarizing, or is there anything else that the town can be doing now to save energy?
Well, I think the biggest bang for your buck is conservation, because the cheapest kilowatt or kilowatt hour is the one that you don't use. So just by turning off a light, that's what's going to save you the most energy. Converting to an LED, I actually converted majority of the lamps in my house to LEDs. And I was like, oh yeah, and I got into, and I think some people kind of feel this way, where like, oh, it's so cheap, I'm not gonna turn it off, I'll just leave it on for a little bit, So if you don't change your habits if you think about the fact that you need to keep on conserving energy, that's when you're gonna see that. Forgive me if I'm not making myself clear on this, but basically the idea, what I found was that my electric bill actually didn't go down that much, because I was mentally thinking, oh, it's LED.
Sure.
I can just, it's fine, and then I realized that, okay, I actually do have to turn the lights off. It does add up, because I was like, oh, this is great. I think it's, it was really great to have this, these energy efficient bulbs. And LED is also another field that has really come into its own, where they're making it extremely easy to retrofit lamps throughout your house. The typical, the bulb, Edison bulb is what they call them, and also fluorescent lamps, the tubes. We're going to be retrofitting the majority of town buildings with those.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and each lamp will save, the payback is less than a year, and it'll save between $5 and $10 a year per bulb.
Okay.
So
that's significant.
That is really significant. So even though we have very efficient fixtures, you still got to be able to turn them off. Is that,
Right.
Again, the point that I've been trying to make, and that I was babbling about before, is that conservation really still is the biggest. It gives you the biggest bang for your buck.
Do you deal with the insulation too?
We do. I've done some insulation, but not a lot. I think a lot of the buildings here are pretty good as far as insulation, I mean, Town Hall was, basically brand new 20 years ago. Some of the older buildings, such as the FAFSA Center and some of the schools, may not have as good insulation, but you will see a lot of payback. And there's so many state incentives out there for homeowners to get a free energy assessment, for them to say, listen, you're a little low on insulation here, or you may not have any insulation. The house that I have is it didn't have any insulation at all.
Do you know what my old house had? When we bought the house, it was 1780s house. When we bought the house, the owner was the son-in-law of the man that had owned it, and he said his father-in-law always said it was insulated. Oh. So we did some work on to put in new wiring, new electric wiring stuff. You know what it was insulated with? Corn cobs. Okay. The walls were full of old corn cobs and dead mice. You wouldn't believe the stuff.
I wonder what the R value is on those. I'm not sure. But,
he laughed his head off when I showed him.
I'm sure.
I said, "You've got to come over and see this," and he was laughing.
You find a lot of these old houses that just people never put the insulation in.
Well, there was a farm in the back, and this was handy, and there was a little slot up for the. I often wondered why that slot was up at the top of the attic, so you could drop things down. That's obviously why.
It must have been it, yeah.
Probably there may be some dead bodies down there too.
Oh, who knows?
But I thought that was fun.
Well, we like talking about dead bodies today, huh?
But it is amazing how things have changed over the years. Where do you expect solarizing to go in, say, 50 years?
50 years. I mean, I'm not an industry expert by any means, or policy. It's really, I think it's all going to depend on initiatives from government, from state and federal governments. Right now, I don't think the solar industry would not exist without subsidies. Okay. So if the technology gets down to the point where it can exist without subsidies, then I think it'll take off.
Do you really?
Even bigger, yeah. Because a lot of pushback, from varying parties, political parties, whatever, is that if you need to subsidize something, it's not worth it. In this case, I mean, I think it's great, because I mean, you look at the immediate savings that we're going to see. Our payback period on the treatment plant is less than a year.
And that's amazing.
Which is when I ran those numbers, was just it floored me that we were able to do that, and so I hope that comes to fruition, and that we continue to save the town money. And I mean, that was the reason why I was hired, was to try to find ways to save money, and I hope we can continue to do that.
So you've been here how long now?
I've been here for 1.5 years now.
1.5 years now.
Yeah. Yeah,
and you've enjoyed every second, I'm sure.
Every second, yeah. Second. Yeah. No, it's been great. It's been a great environment to work in.
It's a great staff at Town Hall.
It is.
I think I consider them all good friends.
It is, yeah.
They really are good.
Indeed.
But how many companies are there in this area that provide that kind of service?
There are a dime a dozen. I mean,
oh, really? There's that many?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that will put up panels on your house. Many companies only do small scale, something under 25 kilowatts, which is a fairly big system. But on your typical house, you're maybe going to get between 5 and 10 kilowatt systems. So they specialize more in those small ones. Commercial grade systems, such as what we're doing here in town for the town buildings. Those are some other companies, but they still. When we put the RFP out for the treatment plant, we got so many responses.
Really?
Asking for the documents, asking to see, get more details on the project.
That's a good sign then.
Yeah, it is. Everybody wants to do it, because there's so many incentives, so many subsidies available, that they want to be able to take advantage of those.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add that we can tell people about?
No.
No?
I mean,
I think we shot the wad?
I think we chewed it enough. I mean, we talked about the landfill and things that were in there, so I mean, I don't know. I got nothing else.
I think it's a great project, though. I think they're all great projects, and I'm really hoping. I have 3 adult children in town. I've got grandchildren in town. I'd like to think that they'll all benefit, and your kids someday too.
I certainly hope so. I mean, I think that's a personal note. I think that's why we're put here on this earth, is to leave it in a better place for our kids.
That's what I'm hoping.
And
God, I hope so.
That's what I really do hope to do.
The politics probably won't be better. They're certainly worse than they were when I was a child.
They're definitely not going to be.
No, they've definitely gone downhill. But I'm hoping energy consumption, et cetera, will get a lot better.
I think there's a lot. There's so many innovative technologies out there. The efficiency of solar panels are going up right now. So if I can remember correctly, the panels that we have now are about 16% efficient. So for every unit of energy that hits the panel, 16% of that is converted to electricity. Now they're getting up to 40%, which is just amazing. If you think about being able to pack that much power into a smaller unit, is really remarkable, and it's just neat to see where the industry is going.
Sure.
Various ways to be able to recoup energy, such as wind or ocean tides, currents. You put a little propeller in a current of a river, and that's turning. That'll generate something. There's so many different ways you could do that. I think it's fascinating. I'm not an engineer by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like that is just a really neat field to pay attention to.
Going to be a great future. I hope so.
Absolutely, yeah.
Except for the politicians, I think it'll be great.
We'll see how November turns out, right? Oh my Lord.
I have no idea.
No, oh my gosh.
No idea at all, but it sounds like the rest of the energy consumption and all those things are going well. And
yes,
that's a good thing.
Yes,
really
they are.
is.
We are trending towards being able to, to hold our energy budgets stable, and not have to really increase those as much, because we're initiating, efficient lighting and various building controls that'll help to make buildings more efficient and reduce our consumption. So that's the goal.
Okay. Would you give your email address and your website again?
Yeah,
one more time?
It is Solarize, www.solarizemedfield.org, and the email address is solarizemedfield@gmail.com if you're interested on the Solarize Medfield project.
Well, thank you, Andrew.
Okay.
Appreciate very much
Thank
for coming
you
here
very
and doing
much.
this for
I
us.
appreciate it.
And thank you all for watching Happenings in Medfield, and I hope you'll learn something today. I know I did. So good luck for everybody out there, and I hope you all start investigating all this stuff. And remember the websites, and you can go and find out everything you ever wanted to know about Solarize your own house. Thank you for watching.
The preceding was a production of Medfield TV.